Furman, on the other hand, they've challenged themselves in that ESPN tournament down in Charleston, picked up a big win against the South Carolina Gamecocks. So both teams tested in the early season.
Yeah, and neither of these coaches are afraid of playing those tough out-of-conference games. As you see Dallas James, the 7-footer from California, inserted into the starting lineup to match up with Jalen Slauson here today for Coach Martin's Bulldogs.
7 feet, 200 pounds. Dallas James, San Artista, California. As you see the starting five presented by Bonza Coors for the Bulldogs. And it's going to have to be a full 5-man effort out there as that shot is lost on the way up by James. He'll get it back out, three-pointer on the way, off the mark. Offensive board battled for. It's going to be a whistle. And 2 early shots at the line for the Bulldogs. All 5 red jerseys going at the O-Glass.
Yeah, and James tries to go up for that right-handed post hook, ends up getting his own rebound, kicking it back out, and then tipping that offensive rebound over, as you can see right there, to a fellow Bulldog. That's going to be Hallam's going up for 2. He shot the free throw at a 65% clip so far this season.
Hallam, as Fax had mentioned, 65% from the line. As a team, this Bulldog squad just 57% from the charity stripe. And one of the many things that we think need to go the Bulldogs' way is knock down the free throws, and they'll have to do a little bit better than they've been early in the season.
Yeah, they're putting up almost 69 points per game, which on surface value isn't bad, but only shooting 39% from the field, 28% from 3, and 57% from the line. Not great shooting splits for the Bulldogs. If the shots start to fall for this South Carolina State team, they could get more dangerous offensively.
Bothwell in the lane, gets it down low to Heen, who loses the basketball. Furman turns it over early. Early 1-point lead for South Carolina State. That shot's off the mark. Slauson quickly into the front court. Really, any of the 5 right now on the court can bring it up for the Paladins, and Heen will get a chance for the old-fashioned 3-point play. But Coach Ritchie, on a make or miss, likes to send his team up the floor. Really loves that secondary fast break, and there Garrett Heen a chance to go to the line for 3.
Yeah, you see why the Paladins are averaging almost 82 per game on the season. Inside hand, left hand scoop layup right there from Garrett Heen over a 7-footer through the contact. Very impressive play, and 1.
Heen for the Paladins comes in averaging just over 8 points a game. Tell you what, 5th leading scorer, averaging over 8 points a game, and really balanced scoring for the Paladins. You have Tyrus Huey almost in double digits, of course Foster a little over 10, and Slauson and Bothwell, but any one of the 5 on the court, probably 3 or 4 others for the Paladins can score the basketball.
This Paladin offense really spreads the ball.
4-1. Paladins out in front. We have a little technical difficulties with Faxon. We'll try to get him back online. And that ball's tipped away all the way into the backcourt. Run by Marcus Foster. And it's a 6-1 Furman lead and an early timeout by South Carolina State. Coach Eric Martin doesn't want this one to get away from them. Faxon, we talked about playing in 5-minute segments. And that's exactly what South Carolina State's trying to do, is get from media timeout to media timeout.
Yeah, and, you know, a big change in momentum right there for the Furman Paladins. You know, you come out and you have the foul early on. Marcus Foster showing why he's such a great 2-way player within the conference. And Foster able to get out in transition right there, complete the left-handed layup, and put the Paladins up 6-1. Eric Martin calling that timeout early is really indicative of what he thinks. You know, we mentioned the 4-minute segments, Bryant. They're going to have to stay in this game.
Quick 6-0 run the last 44 seconds. Prompted that timeout. Down the left side of the lane, should be an offensive foul. No, a block called. Chris Ford, Arthur Vallet, Errol Lewis, your officials here this afternoon, and Coach Ritchie is pointing up at the monitor saying, hey, that should be an offensive foul, and the officials are going to have a conversation about it. And they are going to keep it a blocking call against the Paladins, and that's Marcus Foster. Ball tipped. The Bulldogs turn it over for the second time. Paladins looking to go quick. J.P. Pegues, backdoor cut, a lot of contact, and it's going to be out of bounds. Possession to the Paladins. Furman a perfect 3 of 3 from the field here in the early going. We talked about Furman coming off that win on Tuesday in Boone, North Carolina against the former Southern Conference rival Appalachian State Mountaineers as Foster whistled for a wall. Furman had a 16-point second half lead. Mountaineers came back, but it was big points down the stretch by both Mike Bothwell and Garrett Heen. It was Bothwell with a couple free throws late to steal that basketball game. But Coach Ritchie saying, hey, that's his team finding a way to win when they shot a season low 38% from the field. So a talented team that can win in many different ways. Paladins did have 9 offensive rebounds in the second half to help pull out the game in Boone. Here, a 5-point lead. That three-pointer off the side of the rim. Loose ball underneath. Offensive rebound. 3 Paladins were there. Furman couldn't corral it. It's the 3rd offensive rebound here in the early going. That wild layup off the mark. Slauson with the board. Already the 3rd rebound for Jalen Slauson. Pegues, open 3-pointer, knocks it down. Paladins with an 8-point lead. J.P. Pegues for the Paladins comes in nearly 36% from downtown a game. And it's a 9-0 Furman run after the first free throw by South Carolina State. Bulldogs still searching for their first made field goal. Contested 3-pointer is up off the mark. I'm not sure if that's the shot Eric Martin is looking for in the early going. Bulldogs hadn't scored the last 2.5 minutes as Bothwell runs the offense for the Paladins. Foster 3-pointer, that's off the rim. Heen battling down low with 3 Bulldogs and corrals the offensive glass. Finds Slauson, and he has the knocked away, but a foul. It'll be Jalen Slauson going to the line to shoot 2.
Yes, Slauson going to the line for 2 there, but it's really all a product of Garrett Heen on the offensive glass. You see him right there battling. A great pass down to the dunker spot, and then Slauson going up and getting fouled.
Substitution coming in for the Paladins after the first free throw. Tyrese Huey, 6'6" sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio. And then Ben Vanderwall, freshman out of Elmhurst, Illinois. This is a Furman team, Faxon, that can go 8-9 deep. A lot of folks have been really impressed by the freshman Vanderwall here through the first 6-7 games. Yeah, we've actually seen Vanderwall start a handful of games for this Paladin team. You know, Heen had a couple games where he fell due to injury. Tyrese Huey's been really impressive to me as well. And if Furman's a team that's going to win the SoCon, going to want to compete in March in these postseason tournaments, they're going to have to get production from their depth, and that's exactly what's happened thus far this season. 11-0 Furman run over the last 3 minutes on an early 10-point lead. It's exactly what we talked about the Bulldogs couldn't afford early. It was to fall down big and try to get that first media timeout. Half-court man-to-man defense. Baseline jumper by Jones rattles home, and it's the first field goal for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and a much-needed shot there to kind of weather the storm for South Carolina State. They're definitely down big in this 4-minute segment, as we previously mentioned, but a good chance to, you know, end this 4-minute stretch on a positive note and go to the media timeout with a single-digit deficit. Nice
cut by Tyrese Huey. Coach Bob Ritchie big about moving the basketball and moving without the basketball. They're find a cutter, 4th, or make it 5th Furman made field goal and already their 3rd assist, and they're South Carolina State quickly trying to move the basketball, get things going toward the glass.
Yeah, they've got to find some way to generate offense. You can see the Paladins' length is really bothering them. A reckless skip pass there, but able to knock down the jumper and lead back to 8.
Simpson now with 4 points, and Furman quickly back into the front court. Coming and taken away is Jones. Jones all by himself, blocked by Slauson. You saw Jalen Slauson then quickly sends it to the front court, but Faxon Slauson kind of slowed down to time up that jump.
Yeah, Slauson baited him in, and you're seeing why he's the reigning SoCon Defensive Player of the Year. Just the IQ right there. A little bit of a careless turnover in transition, which Bob Ritchie and staff won't love, but what a play by Slauson.
Step back 3-pointer on the way, knocked down. A 10-point deficit now down to 5 here, 13-8. Bulldogs starting to heat up from the floor. Next whistle will take us to a media timeout. This game, Faxon, was originally scheduled for a 4 o'clock tip, but they moved it up to noon due to the Furman football team playing in the playoffs. A change in tip time as that 3-pointer's off the mark, and it'll be out of bounds. And South Carolina State basketball when we come back. 14-10 to go here in the opening half. Furman with an early 5-point lead from Greenville. Low prices, love the savings, and by Pepsi. That's what I like. Bryant Lambert, Facts and Childress back with you. Furman up 13-8 early. Paladins 71% from the field. The Bulldogs just 27%, but a late surge has this double-digit game back to 5, and kind of a big stretch there of about 90 seconds for Coach Eric Martin of the Bulldogs. Yeah, and the surge was just generated off of turnovers. I mean, the Paladins have double the turnovers of South Carolina State here early. That's 4 turnovers to South Carolina State's 2. Furman got careless in transition a couple times and ended up biting them in the butt on the other end. A good job by Eric Martin's Bulldog squad to stay composed, seeing that 10-point deficit can be scary, especially against a team like Furman early on. They battle back into the game, knock down some much-needed jumpers, and find themselves within striking distance right now. It's a great ATO out of the timeout and get a layup. Shaman Alston, the junior out of Columbia, South Carolina, makes it a 1-possession game. Paladin lead at 3. That 3-pointer off the mark by Joe Anderson, junior out of Maryville, Tennessee. Another spark off the bench for this Paladin squad. That's very uncharacteristic for Anderson, who's a 46% three-point shooter and viewed as one of the best shooters in the conference, maybe the best shooter on this team. Nice backdoor cut and a quick timeout by the Furman bench as a 9-0 South Carolina State run has it a 13-12 basketball game, and that's the second backdoor cut that's worked. And we talked about the keys to the game for the Paladins. It's defensive effort, and Bob Ritchie is not happy. You see the quick timeout there, and I think it's needed. He needs to send the message to his team that this is not just a walkthrough game. You know, you may look at the 1-7 record and say, you know, South Carolina State should be an easy opponent on paper. This team plays hard. They took South Carolina wire to wire down in Columbia. This is a team that's going to battle. So a good timeout there by Bob Ritchie. Needs to get the team refocused and need that defensive energy and effort from the Dens. Yeah, I don't think that was an X's and O's timeout. Looking over at the huddle, that was an effort and an awareness timeout. So both coaches here in the first 7 minutes already used one of their timeouts, some full court pressure out of South Carolina State. This is a very athletic Bulldog team. You got to think Furman has the horses to beat the pressure, no problem if they stay connected against that kind of diamond press, and Furman gets it into the front court. Yeah, and a great press break there from Furman, getting it into the middle, which is exactly what you need to do against the full court pressure. Back out Carter Witt, thought about a 3, steps in, 2-point jumper on the way, knocks down Carter Witt, the sophomore out of Raleigh, transfer from Wake Forest. And if you look at Carter Witt's stat line on the season of 3, 2, and 2, I think that's a little bit misleading. This is a guy that contributes for this team in a lot of ways. He competes on the defensive end. He's a great player to have coming off your bench, and I think he'll be a starter in due time. But, man, that's another backdoor cut that the Paladins get beat on, and that's what the timeout was called for. Paladins got to do a better job communicating on defense, making sure everyone's guarded, because right now the Bulldogs are eating on those backdoor cuts. Back to a 1-point game. Paladin has jumped out to a double-digit lead earlier. Since then, the Bulldogs finding some things offensively. Here's Witt again, takes the pump fake. See how quickly the Bulldogs are getting to the basketball. They're off the leg, a little bit inadvertent for Joe Anderson, but Garrett Heen, the beneficiary, and lays it up and in. Yeah, it's a fortunate break for Furman as Anderson went into the paint a little bit out of control, gets, you know, the grace of God off the leg of a South Carolina defender, a South Carolina State defender. Garrett Heen lays it in for 2. Bulldogs have hit their last 4 from the field. Started off just 2 of 10 from the floor. Elam off the mark, and it's going to be a foul going against South Carolina State and Furman basketball when we come back. Faxon, Bulldogs hanging close here. Yeah, Bulldogs hanging close. They continue to battle, and you know, if they shoot the ball a little bit better, they can get their way right back into this game. Paladins 17, Bulldogs 14 when we come back from Tevens. Bryant Lambert, Faxon Childress back with you from Greenville. 17-14 Paladin lead. Furman will be with the basketball coming out of the timeout. Faxon, maybe what's changed from that first 2 to 3 minutes when Furman jumped all over the Bulldogs?
You know, I think it's just defensive pressure and defensive intensity. The Paladins have gotten a little bit lazy defensively, and we've seen this be an issue for this team at times this year. I would say it's their biggest weakness as a team. There's not many of them top to bottom. This is a great Furman Paladin team that has a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. But if they want to, you know, ascend to that next level and win the Southern Conference, you got to be engaged for 40 minutes on the defensive side of the ball. There have been 3 back cuts on the last 4 possessions for South Carolina State that have resulted in layups at the rim. Those aren't shots you can't be giving up at this level.
Ball taken away with the run out. Slauson does it again. Second block for Jalen Slauson. It'll be Furman basketball in the alternating arrow, and nothing's easy when number 20's running behind you.
And Jalen Slauson just continues to amaze me, and I get to watch him play just as much as anybody else. I mean, meets an incredibly athletic Jordan Simpson at the rim right there and pins him off the glass, gets wedged for a jump ball, and it'll be Paladin ball. But that's his second block of the game, and the second one where he's kind of baited a defender by lulling him to sleep a little bit, then challenging him immediately at the rim and blocking it off the backboard.
Furman struggling taking care of the basketball there with the run out off the glass and in by Jordan Simpson. Is back to a 1-point game. Furman sloppy early taking care of the basketball facts, and the Paladins already with 6 turnovers.
Yeah, this is a extremely sloppy start for this Paladin team. 6 turnovers, and you know, Bryant, you look at the box score, they're shooting 70% from the field, and Garrett Heen knocks down another 3 right there. Their 3-point percentage is up to 40%. They're shooting the ball as well as ever, but they have to limit those turnovers if they want to blow this lead open against South Carolina State. You can't continue to gift a team like this free possessions.
Heen now with 7 points. He's a perfect 3 of 3 from the field. As that ball's passed out of bounds, will be Furman basketball again with this 4-point lead. J.P. Pegues back in for the Paladins as Carter Witt takes a seat.
Yeah, and right there you see South Carolina State give the ball away. You know, if there's been one area where this Bulldog offense has actually been pretty sound this year, they're only turning the ball over 11.4 times per game. That's pretty good at any level of college basketball. So Furman only 12.7 turnovers per game on the year. They've got 6 already in this one. They got to do a better job of protecting the ball. That's a 7th turnover there, Bryant, and a foul in transition. This is just extremely sloppy offense from the Paladins.
Coach Ritchie looks and pretty bluntly tells his squad, hey, quit throwing the ball to the other team. Uncharacteristic turnovers in the early going. Those 7 Furman turnovers have only led to 5 South Carolina State points. But you said what is really doing is harping a Furman team from shooting the basketball, where they're up to 8 of 11 from the field. So you kind of mentioned it a few minutes ago. When they don't turn the basketball over, they're knocking it out. And now you'll see another substitution come in for Joe Anderson, or Joe Anderson comes in for Garrett Heen, maybe trying to get a couple more ball handlers out there.
Yeah, and you know, you just got to make a conceded effort to protect the ball as Joe Anderson's going to enter this game. Another good shooter, but now you mentioned you've got multiple players on the floor that can handle the ball. You're really going 3, almost 4 guards with Marcus Foster out there. There's not a lot of size on the floor for South Carolina State, so a good counter move here from Bob Ritchie, but another open shot given up.
Gary, 3-pointer, woefully short. Bulldogs now 1 of 5 from long range in the first 10 minutes. Foster, contested 3 from the corner. That's off the back of the rim. Weak side rebound, battled for, taken down by South Carolina State. And it'll be the 4th Furman team foul there in the backcourt.
Yeah, that's just, you know, more complacency from Paladins on the offensive side of the ball. You know, been turning the ball over a lot. That's a little bit of a settle shot. An early shot clock contested 3 is not the look you're looking for within the offense. You can get a better look with that than that. Bob Ritchie is going to be able to generate you a better look with that. And, you know, Furman's got some of the best motion sets in the country. Just get into the half-court offense, because when you've been in it, you've been able to shoot the ball at a 67% clip, 33% from the 3-point line.
Shot clock approaching 10. Half-court man-to-man defense. Bothwell pokes it away. Run down by Gary. 7 to shoot. Gary top of the key. Tries to go baseline. Far side 3-pointer on the way. Knocked down by Hallams as the shot clock expired. The sophomore out of Brooklyn, New York, with his first field goal, and back to a 1-point game.
Yeah, and Gary did a really good job of escaping there, as we see a Pegues miss. You know, Furman's trying to kill those wing ball screens with Jalen Slauson, and able to force a turnover there, but good job by Gary to create the open look for his teammate in the corner, cut this lead to 1.
Bothwell finds Slauson, who lays it over the rim on the baseline cut. You got to have your eyes wide as you think Slauson cutting to the basket, a chance for a high-flying Zam there. Just a good job of laying it over the rim.
Yeah, taking the safe route. And, you know, Jalen Slauson still looking to get into this game a little bit on the offensive side of the ball. He's got 4 points, but that was his first shot attempted the entire game.
Another backdoor cut, that layup miss, easy tap, put back, offensive rebound. Raquan Brown, the junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Bulldogs playing tough.
And I got to say, I'm impressed with Coach Eric Martin. I'm impressed with this Bulldog team. You can see what the energy of a win can lead to momentum-wise. This has got to be the best 1-7 team in the country. This team is a lot better than their record indicates, and they play really hard.
Slauson catches the entry pass over the top, off the glass and in. Jalen Slauson now with 6 points. You talked about Furman being patient offensively. They're the last couple of possessions. So he did a good job there on the entry pass. Weak side defense doesn't get there in time.
Yeah, and when Dallas James, the 7-footer, is not in the game, Furman is going to have the size advantage. Those looks are going to be there for Jalen Slauson and the Paladins on the inside.
Contested three-pointer by Edwards, too strong. Rebound out of bounds, and it will be Furman basketball.
Yeah, and I thought we might get an over-the-back call there. It looks like Jalen Slauson took some contact from Davian Everett, the sophomore from Columbia. No call. They're just going to call it Paladin ball going that way.
Coaching moment for Joe Anderson there. You see talking to Bob Ritchie, jogging off the court. That's so many times you see that on the entire Furman staff. A play that might have happened 2 or 3 possessions ago. Keep it in the back of their mind. Player jogs off and gives them a little coaching tidbit. And high-level analytical thinking from the staff that helps them at all times as Bothwell knocks down the contested three-pointer. That's his first bucket in a 6-point game. I tell you what, it was Mike Bothwell came up big down the stretch in Boone Tuesday night.
And Bryant, doesn't that always seem to be the story? Is Mike Bothwell coming through when this team needs him the most? And 20-point-per-game scorer for a reason, averaging 4 boards and 4 assists to go with that. Just such an all-around player who's really taken his game to a whole new level this year for Furman.
It's the 5th offensive rebound already for the Bulldogs. Next whistle will take us to immediate timeout. Gary looking to go one-on-one, hesitates off the glass and in. Nice hesitation move, got 2 white jerseys in the air.
Yeah, that's a great move by Gary. I've been pretty impressed with him here early on. Does a good job of manipulating the defense and using his body, but for Marcus Foster, that's too easy coming off the wing. Gets the spin move, left-hand finger roll, easy 2 points.
Foster now with 6. We talked about how Furman wants to go fast off their misses, but also makes there. That was almost kind of a fast break transition opportunity on the make.
Yeah, they play a really high pace, and that's what part of the reason they average 82 points per game, but just so efficient as we're seeing too. 71% from the field from the Paladins, 38% from 3.
That jumper short off the mark. Carter Witt with the rebound, wants to go quick. Into the front court, finds Slauson. Sends it far side Bothwell, who stepped on the sideline. And it will be Bulldog basketball when we come back. Furman, after trailing 1-0, jumped out to a double-digit lead and holding a 6-point advantage in Bulldog basketball when we come back from Greenville. But they've uncharacteristically turned the basketball over at a frequent pace, already 8 through the first 13 minutes.
Yeah, only averaged about 12.5 on the season, 8 in the first 13 minutes, as you mentioned. Paladins have to do a better job of protecting the ball because they're shooting 71% from the field, so just stay within the offense, be patient, the looks will come, and protect the ball.
Many of the turnovers haven't been under the, football analogy, pick-6 variety that lead to points on the other end. Just 5 Bulldog points off those turnovers, but a couple were saved by big-time blocks by Jalen Slauson.
Yeah, and, you combine the turnovers for Furman, got 8 of them, with 5 offensive rebounds for South Carolina State. South Carolina State's actually attempted 8 more field goals in this game, 25 to Furman's 17. So Paladin's got to do a better job on the defensive end as well, as that's a great dribble drive and left-handed take right there from Shamon Alston.
Back to a 4-point game. Furman quickly into the front court. Witt tries to find Bothwell, who corrals it under the backboard, off the glass and in. Furman now doing a better job attacking the glass. Have hit 3 long trays and 72% from the field. You think if a Paladin is shooting 72%, maybe more than 6, but you talked about the turnovers and the offensive boards, and that'll be a foul to stop the Furman transition. Yeah, and that's a great defensive board there, and credit to the Furman bench. They immediately noticed that was the slice screen set. They called out scissors from the bench. Tyrese is what an assistant coach was yelling at Huey, and they pick up on the slice screen. They make a good contest with no foul at the rim right there. They get out in transition. If it's not for this foul by Alston, it's probably 2 points on the other end for the Paladins. First on Alston, 4th team foul. We talked about the Furman staff and the bench, and that 3-pointer's off the mark. They pick up on a lot of things during the game, quickly tendencies and stuff that weren't captured on film, and help call out that defense. Yeah, they do a great job in every game we call, Brian, and it's really impressive. Bob Ritchie's got one of the best staffs in the country here to help him out. Associate head coach Jeremy Groh, assistants Tim Johnson, Chad Warner, as that's out of bounds. They'll stay with the Bulldogs. 15 on the shot clock. Chad Warner, a big pickup, head coach experience down from Flagler, comes up and helped replace the loss of Jimmy Williams, who went to be the head coach down the road at Anderson University.
Yeah, a lot of coaching turnover, but you know, for Furman, even when they've lost talent, when they've lost coaches over the Bob Ritchie era, they've been able to just replenish that with more talent and more great coaches. So it's really just a consistent cycle here for Furman. That's another lazy turnover in transition. Might lead to 2 points on the other end.
Way up in by Cameron Jones, the junior out of Memphis.
9 turnovers for Furman now, Bryant. 9.
This is an athletic Bulldog team. We mentioned a very, very tough schedule in the early going, but coming off some momentum in that win against East Carolina, seeing pieces why, and there Furman throws it away again. Back-to-back turnovers.
It's a 10th turnover. Bulldogs
wanted to go quickly. Hallam's off the glass, and a timeout taken by Furman, and it's back to a one-possession game at 31-29.
And I think it's a needed timeout. You know, Bob Ritchie's boys are playing very sloppy here early on. They've almost matched their average for turnovers here. In the first 15 minutes, they got 10 turnovers, only averaging just over 12 on the season. Shooting the ball has not been the problem for Furman in this basketball game. 68% from the field, 13 for 19, doing a decent enough job on the glass as well. It's really just protect the ball, and a lot of these are transition turnovers, Bryant. It's they're trying to run too quick up the court, just get the simple advance pass and get into your offense. Pull the ball out if you don't have it there and lock in.
Furman basketball after the timeout. Pallet is still shooting 68%. They've only missed 6 field goals here in this first half. Bulldogs now shooting 43%, and we talked about how Furman was able to limit the damage off their turnovers. Well, 3 straight turnovers have led to 6 points in a row for South Carolina State. So from 5 points off those Furman turnovers to 11 the last few minutes, and it's a 2-point game.
Yeah, and South Carolina State, you got to give credit where credit is due. Coach Eric Martin has had a game plan coming into this game to turn this Paladin team over. We're seeing a lot of doubles, a lot of killing of ball screens. Furman's being sloppy, and his players are in these passing lanes, taking advantage of some of these lazy passes. South Carolina State is a tough out against anyone, and they're playing really hard here in Timmons Arena this afternoon.
Ball poked away again, as out of bounds. They'll stay with Furman. Fortunate as Jordan Simpson, the freshman hometown kid out of Orangeburg, South Carolina, going right down the street to play for the Bulldogs.
And Furman's got to be more crisp with these entry passes into the post. We've seen multiple turnovers just from South Carolina State, not fronting these entry passes, but they're kind of playing 3-4s, and then they're jumping right on the passing. Furman being lazy with these, sharpen up the passes.
Huey at the elbow finds Bothwell. Bothwell, 5 points here in the first half. Pegues gets bumped, no call. Bothwell into the lane, sends it out to a Pegues, over to Slauson. 3-pointers, the shot clock expires, off the mark, and a strong rebound coming in to take it is Davion Everett, the sophomore out of Columbia.
Yeah, it's a great defensive possession from South Carolina State. All of a sudden they've got a chance to take the lead here, but that one's going to come right over your head, Brian, and knock down some of the stuff behind us.
Just taking a look down at the monitor to look up. I see the orange basketball flying at me. Take a look there. You see, I flinched. So late reaction.
You gave a little.
I kind of went down, and by the time the ball was past me, is when my hands went up. You made a good play the other day.
Yeah.
The other day we were in here calling a game, and then you were able to. Hands went up. So we'll say responsibilities for ball coming our way now are solely in the hands of you, Faxon.
Okay. If it's coming out your face, that's the moneymaker for you, Brian. If it's coming out your face, I gotta reach the left hand out and protect you.
Well, I think Jeff Schetzel, who's our great leader at the helm on this ESPN broadcast, he'll say the money makers are his monitors and equipment, and that's the first thing we should be guarding. So that's what we got to make sure stays intact, as a couple monitors already been down this season. Slauson down low, nice turnaround, but leaves it short. Ball tipped around to Joe Anderson. Second chance, down to Huey, who lays it off the glass at end. Nice job staying with it.
Yeah, and Huey, a good job of staying in position in that dunker spot. Anderson very attentive. Huey, great hands, ready to receive the pass. It's a little bit low, but goes up quick. Doesn't bother taking any extra dribbles or anything. This is a big possession for Furman defensively.
Under 4 timeout coming at the next whistle. Off the glass and in, offensive rebound for the Bulldogs. The second chance points, they're now up to double digits in second chance points with 10.
Yeah, it's Cameron Jones for South Carolina State. The second leading scorer has been quiet today. And Brian, I'll tell you, I'm so impressed by Tyrese Huey every time I watch him play. Shooting 71% from the field, 50% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line coming into this game. Arguably the Paladins' most efficient player, and you see it right there. Great shooting touch from the big man.
The lead sits at 5. Furman's largest lead has been 10. That was an 11-1 point after Furman had a quick 11-0 run. Tried to respond. Now 3 for the corner. Edwards knocks it down. And the Bulldogs respond.
Big time hit from Rashawn Edwards. Was 0-5 before that one. Sometimes you just need to see one go through, and he gets it there. And South Carolina State refuses to go away, Bryant.
Heavy pressure defense from these Bulldogs. Bothwell into the lane, all the way off the glass, gets his own rebound. Triple teamed and then dribbles it off his foot, but it was poked. And I think that's what the Bulldogs are trying to campaign for. That went off Bothwell, but I believe it will stay Furman basketball when we come back. Final media timeout of the first half. We have a good one here in Greenville. Furman up 2 here on South Carolina State. These two teams matching up for the 19th time, with Furman a decisive lead in the series. Faxon 13-5. Last met in 2020, the COVID year, where Furman won going away. But this Bulldog program, new leadership, new regime, playing tough.
It's a new era, and clearly you see the last meeting on December 21st, 2020, 118 on the board from Bob Ritchie's Paladins. Coach Eric Martin, Cincinnati grad's coming in his first year, and he's trying to change the culture, and it's evident here as they're playing really tough defensively. They're getting out in transition, and you know, and it seemed like SC State that's going through a little bit of a rebuild as a program. All you can ask for is effort. All you can ask for is player development and effort, and we're getting both of those things from Eric Martin's boys as the season progresses.
Paladins with the basketball, skips near side, and it's too high for Marcus Foster. Paladins turn it over, and a chance for Bulldogs to tie or take the lead here late first half.
Yeah, and you know, every defensive possession right now is big for Furman, whether it may seem like it or not. You know, Brian, we obviously both still expect Furman to be able to pull away and win this game, but South Carolina State is playing at such a high level right now. Bob Ritchie's going to switch up the defense a little bit, go to this 1-3-1 half-court trap.
Everett, two-handed jam, and we're tied up at 36 as the Bulldogs able to beat the new defense.
Yeah, and you know, the bench for the Bulldogs is doing the head tap, and Mike Bothwell a little bit late on the rotation there. Great dunk by Everett, and all of a sudden we got a brand new ball game at 36-36.
3 from the corner, Pegues on the way. That's off the rim. Weak side rebound taken down by Hallam's. Bulldogs for a chance for their first lead since it was 1-0 on a free throw to start the game. Brown in the corner, thought about a 3. Defended by Bothwell. Shot clock down to 10. Contested 3 on the way for Brown. In and out. Rebound taken down by Jalen Schlosson.
He had a good job by Furman of playing a complete defensive possession there all the way to the defensive rebound. And Marcus Foster looking to get out in transition. We've seen him do this a couple times, just taking his man one-on-one off the wing in transition. And he's really starting to come along on the offensive side of the ball. Had a little bit of a rough start offensively to start the season. Got a lot of hype on the offseason and the progress he had made as a player. We're starting to see the flashes. 8 points in this one, Brian.
Foster with those 8 you mentioned, leading scoring total for the game for either team so far. Balanced scoring for both squads. Bulldogs drop the basketball. Bothwell into the front court. 2-on-1 break. Will take it himself. Left-handed layup in. And the Paladins up 4. About a 7-second differential in the game and shot clock. A stop in the score would be big-time momentum for the Paladins into the locker room.
Absolutely. They've got the 4-point lead now, able to seize that. You got to compete defensively right here. Find a way to get a stop.
Bulldogs have made 5 of their last 7 from the field. 9 to shoot. In the corner with it is Austin. Will pass it underneath. Brown off the glass and in. Still plenty of time. 2-point game. 8 seconds to go in the half. Pegues in the front court, trying to get all the way down off the glass. Doesn't fall on that back rim, but will be 2 at the foul line for J.P. Pegues.
Yeah, and if you're Furman, you got to do a better job defensively of guarding these cuts, Bryant. And part of it is Coach Martin running a pretty good offense right now. 69 points per game. You're not shooting great from the field or for 3, but the action is there. And these cuts have beat Furman all night. You got to do a better job being engaged, communicating with your teammates. Paladin's going to have a chance to take a 4-point lead to the locker room with Pegues at the line. But second half, you got to expect some defensive adjustments coming from Coach Ritchie's Paladins.
Free throw, front rim and in. Pushes the lead back to 3.
Pegues, 86% clip from the free throw line coming into this game. Looking to boost that up a little bit with 2 makes here. Got the first one.
Two and a half seconds. Going to try to be sent to midcourt. Pegues intercepts it. Half-court shot. Oh, Faxon.
Wow.
That looked good from our vantage point. The Paladins able to push the lead to 4 after the Bulldogs tied an entertaining first half.
A very entertaining first half. A lot of points on the board. And Bryant, I think the bench thought J.P. McGeese had nailed that one from half-court as well. We had the perfect point of view and just a little bit off to the left, but a barn burner here at Timmons Arena nonetheless.
At one point briefly early in the first half when Furman jumped out to that 11-1 lead. South Carolina State did come back to tie it late stages first half before Furman took the 4-point lead into the locker room, and we're set to go here in the second half. Furman will come out man-to-man defense. Briefly saw that kind of switched up trap defense, but for the most part it was man-to-man for the Paladins.
Yeah, and a twin set backdoor cut immediately coming out of halftime, and it's got to be a focal point for the Paladins. You got to stay engaged. A great play coming out of halftime. Furman going to advance quick and look for early offense.
Keene beat everybody down the court, but nice job coming down by Everett that forced the ball back outside. Huey out to Slauson. He thought about a three, wants to go baseline. Pump fake by Foster into the paint. Nowhere to go with the basketball. We'll try to force it up. Block, gets it back. Deflected again. Shot clock down to 3, and it'll be a late whistle and a foul with 2 on the shot clock. Good persistence there by Marcus Foster.
Yeah, that's a bailout for the Furman Paladins. There's no other way to cut it. That's a bad offensive possession, especially when you were able to get the ball advanced early. Foster's been able to, take advantage of some of those one-on-one matchups right there. That was not the matchup for him. Gets blocked twice, and it's a little bit of a bail with the late whistle. If you're Furman, got to stay engaged. This is a 2-point game against an opponent you need to be beating by double digits.
Aggressive man-to-man defense and a whistle. So I don't think the shot clock and clock started there on the inbounds. They'll have to get that adjusted. Tell you what, you see this aggressive defense of South Carolina State. How do you counter that? I guess on the other end, the blueprints there, the backdoor cuts is working well against the Paladins, who play a very similar style, aggressive man-to-man defense.
Yeah, and Furman's got to continue to work through their motion and get into their offense, get into their sets. But Brian, I like the point you put out there. Maybe on some of these where you're coming off a stagger away or you're coming off this twin set to free throw line extended, you're slipping it and you're cutting backdoor and you're looking to get South Carolina State gambling in these passing lanes. And it's going to be an offensive foul coming out of that inbound right there. And Old Paladins bench is shouting next play. Furman's really got to be engaged here over this final 19 minutes and not let this one continue to slip from them.
Chance for the Bulldogs to tie or again take their first lead since 1-0. That last foul going against Marcus Foster. Jones sends it far side. Edwards wants to drive. He's cut off by Bothwell. Three-pointer launch for the lead. Off the rim, no good. And Heen grabs the rebound. Garrett Heen now with 3 boards to go along with his 7 points.
It's another open shot, and if you're Coach Eric Martin, you got to be pretty happy with that. You get a good look on offense, and now it's about keeping this at a 1-score game, keeping the Paladins at bay on the defensive side of the ball.
Triple team comes and cutting J.P. Pegues, and a nice find by Bothwell.
Yeah, and that's just the patience. That's fifth-year leadership. That's fifth-year mentality from Mike Bothwell. Seeing the backdoor cut right there from Pegues, able to slide it through the triple team, as you said, Brian, for the easy layup. And Timmons Arena has suddenly gotten really loud with the defense chance, Brian. So the crowd's starting to get into it.
Elbow jumper on the way, quieted by Edwards, the junior out of Charlestown, West Virginia. Answers, and the lead back to 2. Bothwell down low, contact, and there's the whistle. It'll be Bothwell going to the line to shoot 2. Tell you what, you talk about the crowd coming into Timmons Arena, not capacity here this afternoon. This is a tough place to play, not only in the Southern Conference realm, but all mid-majors, all of college basketball. Great student environment, great crowd. A lot of things added with the Wickard Reed Barl on the baseline, the new risers on the other end. And tell you what, that's been a big part of Furman's success. And a couple baskets, a couple stops, this place gets loud.
Yeah, I mean, it's the culture and it's the environment. If you look at the Furman Paladin basketball track record over the course of the Bob Ritchie era, why would you not want to come out here to Timmons Arena and support? Winning 20 games in 5 of 6 seasons, consistently developing guys that are going on to play professional basketball. It's just been so impressive, the turnaround of this program and, what Bob Ritchie's been able to do. But we mentioned that next hump, the next leap to get over for the Paladins is reach that first NCAA tournament that they haven't reached in a while.
Bothwell makes a pair of free throws, back to a 4-point lead. Bothwell hit a couple big free throws late in that game against Appalachian State, and boom for the Paladins to come down the mountain victorious. 4-point lead, the same we saw at the half. Gary One-on-one against Pegues. He'll size up, shoot. That's off the rim. Rebound taken down by Slauson.
A good box out from Slaw there, and Furman going to look to get out and run. Bothwell only has 5 shot attempts. Slauson only has 4. Look to get both of them involved here as this game progresses.
Pegues had to get rid of the basketball. He almost landed, and then Bothwell checked.
He slid for like 4 feet right there.
You saw Pegues smartly realize, hey, he was trying to get to Bothwell, then had to let go of the basketball as he didn't want to travel. And then you see the push from behind. Because that foul is the 3rd on the Bulldogs here in the second half.
Yeah, and you know, Coach Martin going with some different rotations, trying to give the Paladins a lot of looks. Dallas James, the 7-foot center, started this one, but only played 3 minutes in the first half. Only plays about 2 here to start the second half, and then immediately Coach Martin countering and going small. So consistently trying to keep Bob Ritchie on his toes, changing up the rotations, changing up the personnel, making Furman adjust on the fly.
Double team comes, find a cutting Heen, who lays it over the rim. Garrett Heen now with 9 points. There you see Furman now moving without the basketball. The lead's at 6.
Yeah, able to do that, and right there, great pass. And when you don't have James, the 7-footer in there, Garrett Heen's got a size advantage. Jalen Slauson's got a size advantage on everyone else on the court. Good job of recognizing that from Heen, being big with the flash right there, able to get the easy layup at the bucket for 2.
12 Furman assists on 19 made field goals, sharing the basketball well. Consequently, South Carolina State doing the same thing. 12 assists for the Bulldogs as well. But you talked about, you said a key to the game was Furman's defensive intensity. You're now scoring at a pretty good pace, kind of right at their season average. You think it's going to be getting stops the key for the Paladins in the second half?
Yeah, they've got to be able to consistently get stops. They've extended this lead to 6. This is a big defensive possession. Got a chance to balloon it to double digits before the media if they lock in defensively.
Jones splits the double team, can't make it through heavy defensive pressure. Slauson bringing it into the front court. Hello, has it blocked. Slauson going up for the one-handed jam, coming the other way. Alley-oop off the glass and in, and the Bulldogs take it back the other way.
Wow, and that's just such an impressive block from Davian Everett right there. How many people have we seen Jalen Slauson dunk on? Davian Everett dunked on Mike Bothwell earlier in this game, and now robs Jalen Slauson of a poster dunk on the other end. Impressed with this kid on both sides of the basketball.
Slauson will think about a 3, then send it to the corner. JP Pegues open. In and out, battle for the rebound. Foster comes flying in into the hands of Jones and the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they've got numbers here. Slauson's still on the ground. They're looking to push in transition and tie this one up. That's a great move off the glass, just can't get it to go.
Paladins back with the ball in this 4-point lead. The referee goes down on the far side. Nice tumble. Looks like they're going to stop play for some condensation on the court. Tell you what, I'll see if we can't get another look. Errol Lewis, I give him a 10 for his tuck and roll on the far side. As you see, Foster's falling, but before that, Lewis, one of the officials, was coming down that far side again. He falls, rolls, and comes right back up, sees the Paladins fall, and look, that's when stop play.
When you gotta call it, yes.
Get everything sorted out. The last thing you want to do is see someone get hurt. And you can see, look at the far side. But look at the recovery here. Doesn't miss a beat.
Look at that. The spry like a spider gets back right on his feet.
Coordinator of officials needs to take a look at that, put it in a highlight tape on how to recover.
Yeah. All business. He's right back up in the play. He's still got the whistle in his hand. He's still looking at the play, evaluating for a foul. And Brian, would it be messed up to make a joke about ear roll Lewis after the roll? With that, I think he would take it. I think he would take it, right?
Oh, Faxon. Nothing gets by you. Nothing gets by you. Here's Slauson wants to go baseline. One-handed jam and a foul. Will go to the line for 1. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Take another look.
And Jalen Slauson just got his lick back on Davian Everett. Goes up for the right-handed poster jam. Gets it and the foul. Got blocked about 2 possessions ago. Goes right back at him. Always intense from Jalen Slauson, and what a throwdown.
Chin above the rim. The bench jumps up with excitement. Slauson at the line trying to convert the 3-point play. And he now has not. I'll tell you what, you make a big dunk like that, a adrenaline play, then you got to calm yourself down and make the free throw. Take another look high above the rim. That gets Timmons fired up a bit. 7-point lead. 3 off the Paladins' largest. Tough 2-point jumper off the mark. Here comes the Paladins. Danger time here for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they've got a chance to run in transition. I think this media timeout's going to be a break for SC State because they were really starting to lose momentum. Furman's going to have that 7-point lead going into the timeout, Brian.
Jalen Slauson, night in, night out, highlight reel for the Paladins. 15:42 to go here in the second half. Paladins push the lead to 7.
And another look at Jalen Slauson's electric poster dunk, and it seems like it's every game this guy plays that he's dunking on someone. Got blocked by Davian Everett 2 possessions before and goes right back at him for the high-flying right-handed slam and one.
Great look by Jeff Schetzel and his entire crew there. All angles of Jalen Slauson. This college basketball broadcast brought to you by Ingles as Slauson gets the lob in, looks to go one-on-one, hook shot, falls off the left side. Good look for Slauson there, couldn't put it in.
Yeah, good baseline out of play there. You come out in the box set, you get it to Slauson on the lob, and gets a clean look at the right-handed hook, just doesn't fall.
No Paladins yet in double digits. Bothwell with 9, Heen with 9, leading the way.
Yeah, Bothwell really hasn't been, fully integrated from a shooting perspective, but Bryant, he is the leading assist man for the Paladins with 5 of those assists. Same could be said for Slauson, only taking 7 shots and got those 9 points, but he's got 4 assists as well. What Coach Martin's doing is really forcing the ball out of their hands, forcing them to be playmakers and create for the other players on this Paladin team.
That foul, the first against Slauson, second team foul in the second half. Free throw off the mark for Everett. You'll hear the crowd get loud here. 2 missed free throws is free biscuit at Bojangles for everybody in attendance. The Bojangles double missed foul shot in the second half. Crowd, here you see the crowd coming to life for it. Second free throw, and the biscuit will have to wait.
Yeah, 80% clip for Everett on the year from the free throw line coming into this game, so pretty reliable shooter for a big man.
Foster tries to go a little bit too fast, able to get the basketball back and make the floater. How about that? Furman lead now methodically pushed up to 8. Coach Ritchie shouting for his team defensively to get the hands outstretched.
Yeah, and I think these are the biggest defensive possessions of the game for Furman because it's the one where you're teetering on the line of a double-digit lead with a chance to blow it open. This is where you really have to be engaged. They're looking for a high-low game, and we hear the Furman bench shouting that, letting Slauson know, able to force SEC into a late shot clock look here.
Three-pointer on the way. Gary knocked down. Big shot for the Bulldogs, and it's back to a 5-point game. The 4th make from beyond the arc for South Carolina State.
Rakeem Gary continues to be consistent for the South Carolina State Bulldogs. This team will not go away and just will not get out of this game.
Slauson, double team comes. Bulldog bench wanted a turnover. Instead, it'll be a foul. Just the 5th for the Bulldogs, so no shots. 20 back on the shot clock.
Yeah, you see Slauson here posting up the smaller defender. He's got 2 guys coming on to him. I'm not 100% sure that was... Yeah, he did. He got a little bit of wrist right there. A lot of ball, but a little bit of wrist. A good call from our officials who've been pretty sound all night.
Both teams still shooting the basketball very well. Furman 58%, the Bulldogs just below 50%. Slauson sends it to Joe Anderson in the corner. Thought about a 3. Into the lane, spin, fade away off the back rim, no good. Loose basketball picked up by South Carolina State.
Vanderwall came flying in. His head almost hit the rim going for that putback dunk, but SC State has weathered the storm once again from the Paladins. They've got this down to 5 with a chance to make it a 1-possession game again.
Vanderwall, 1 rebound in 6 minutes, have yet to attempt a shot for the freshman standout. Edwards thought about a 3 over to Gary, looking for back-to-back from beyond the arc, off the mark, and it's going to stay on this end of the court. Foul going against, I believe, Jalen Slauson. No, they're going to get Bothwell on the hole.
Yeah, and Coach Slauson and Bob Ritchie talking about something regarding defensive coverages, and Furman giving up 48 points through 26 minutes in this game, have not been super sound defensively. This SC State team shooting 46% from the field and now have 7 offensive rebounds.
Down low, off the glass and in. And it's a 1-possession game and a quick 5-0 run by the Bulldogs.
This team just fights, Brian. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing from Eric Martin's team. And, this team may not be a player this year in the MEAC, but in the coming years under Coach Eric Martin, they continue to play with this intensity. They definitely will. Fast break blocked by Slauson out of bounds.
Bulldog bench calling for a foul, not there as Bothwell lost his footing on one end. Take another look. The 3rd block in transition by the high-flying Jalen Slauson.
Did he block that coming down? It felt like he blocked that coming down. He realized he was coming down when he blocked that. Just timed it so well from Jalen Slauson. And that's his 3rd chase down block of the game.
Go along with 9 points. Bulldogs, though, still with possession and a chance to tie it with a 3. Gary working against Anderson, picks up his dribble, still plenty of time on the shot clock. Edwards, step back, long three-pointer off the mark. I don't think that's the shot Mark is looking for. Slauson in transition, sends it to the corner. Vanderwall, first attempt of the game, off the mark. Rebound taken down by South Carolina State. Both teams with 22 boards here this afternoon.
I like that three from Vanderwall, though. You haven't gotten a shot yet. Open three ball in transition, and you just got to compete on defense now if you're Furman.
Skip to the corner. Hallams thought about a three, leaves it off. Should be an offensive foul. No whistle. A lot of contact as Vanderwall goes crashing down, and it's a one-point game here.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, very real chance that South Carolina State cannot just continue to compete in, but win this game under the 13-minute mark, about 40 seconds until the media timeout. We got a game on our hands, Brian Lambert.
Baseline drive. And there's a whistle and a foul. Late foul coming in. That's going to go against Edwards. There'll be two shots coming up for the Paladins at the free throw line.
I like Marcus Foster's aggression. You know, this guy just goes, and goes. Pretty good three-point shooter, shooting 32% from beyond the arc. Shot a little bit better last year, but right now he knows he has the size advantage. He knows he can beat his guy off the dribble, and he's continuing to just pound the ball in the basket. He's the leading scorer for the Dens in this one with 10 points, shooting 5 of 8 from the field, and a big part of that is just not settling. He's not settling for that three-point shot that's going to be lightly contested. He's going to the rim and getting to his spots.
First free throw is up and in on the season. Foster comes in 86% from the line as Slauson's able to get a quick breather before this under 12 timeout.
Whole Paladin team shoots the free throw pretty well, 74% as a team. Anything about around 75% or up is pretty good from a team perspective.
Second free throw is in. Foster will get a quick break as J.P. Pegues back in for the Paladins. There's a three-point lead. Furman without a field goal, though, the last 3 minutes. Points coming at the line. Half-court man-to-man for the Paladins. Dribble handoff up top into Hallams. Hallams 8 points, just 3 of 9 from the field, but his other Bulldog teammates picking him up here this afternoon. Lob down low underneath. Jones gets the friendly roll back to a one-point game.
South Carolina State really utilizing the high-low game here in the second half, and an ambitious pass from Joe Anderson's going to result in an open look for Vanderwall. Can't get it to fall, and all of a sudden the Bulldogs have a chance to take the lead here in transition.
Vanderwall 0-2 from long range. Thought about a three down low. Contact. Should be an offensive foul, and it is, and it'll be Furman basketball when we come back.
It's going to be about who wants it more from here on out.
Into the game for the first time for the Paladins. Alex Williams, the sophomore out of Ohio. Didn't play the first 6 games of the season. Coach's decision, and Williams potentially going to be a big factor as the season progresses. And I'll tell you what, Alex Williams took him all about 10 seconds to get his first bucket.
Yeah, very active, very attentive already. Timed his cut really well. And now let's see what he can do on defense, Brian, because that's been the struggle for the Paladins here in this one. Another back cut for SC State, and Furman catches a break.
South Carolina State staff wanted goaltending, not going to get the call. Anderson over to Pegues, and Pegues drug his pivot foot. The Paladins going to turn it over. That's something Furman has done better in the second half a little bit, taking care of the basketball. They had the turnover bug in the first 20.
Yeah, they had 12 turnovers at halftime. This only the third of the second half thus far, but still 14 turnovers on the game after that Pegues travel. I think he shuffled them a little bit. Nobody was really thrilled about that call on the Furman side, but it seemed fair nonetheless. And Paladins trying to protect this three-point lead here. Big defensive possession coming up.
Tell you what, looking at the replay, it's close. I'm not sure he drug it.
Really?
Bang, bang call there. Goes against the Paladins. Bulldogs can tie it with the 3, making another one-point game with the 2. That jumper knocked down by Edwards. Edwards in the mid-range game, treating him well. He now has 7.
Yeah, Rashad Edwards makes a big shot there. This lead is back to 1, and South Carolina State continues to compete at a high level, continues to get into what they're comfortable with on offense, and they're taking smart shots. That's what's been most impressive. Not a lot of forcing here from this Bulldog squad.
Bothwell into the lane, muscles off the glass and in. A lot of contact. Mike Bothwell puts it in. He now has 11 to go along with Foster's 12.
And Bothwell's got to find a way to take more shots. I love that right there. And Coach Ritchie's got to find a way to get him more integrated in the offense. This is a 20-point-per-game scorer that's only taken 7 shots. It's arguably your best player. He's got to be having the ball in his hands more with a chance to create, and a big turnover force there from the Paladins.
See him going right through the hands along the baseline of Austin. Furman back trying to make this a 2-possession game. Clock nearing midpoint of the second half.
Yeah, this is a set call here from Coach Ritchie, and Joe Anderson dealing with a little bit of pressure, but they're looking to get into something here.
Williams back to Anderson. Shot clock at 10. Sends it to Pegues. Now up top, Williams. Long three-pointer on the way. How about Alex Williams off the bench? A quick 5 points, and the Paladins up 6.
Wow, and that's a big shot from Alex Williams. He's been a difference maker for the Paladins, inserted into the second half in a timeout from Eric Martin. And Bob Ritchie and the crowd are loving it. A big run right there from the Paladins to extend this lead to 6.
Alex Williams getting some love for his teammates. As his long-range bomb as the Paladins up 6 here with 10 to go in Timmins.
After this, he's really playing his way into the rotation right now. Big layup on a great cut, massive three ball in transition, and they're making the winning play and taking the charge.
Bothwell out, he'll get a break. You're gonna probably see Garrett Heen play the 4, a little slow getting up. Is the Bulldog there under the bench? That looks like Hallams, we talked about the player before out of Brooklyn, New York, the sophomore. Hope everything is okay as he takes his time being looked at by the South Carolina State training staff. Brings a hush over Timmins Arena. That's the last thing you want about highly back and forth competitive game. Anybody get banged up.
Yeah, and especially Hallams, who's the leading scorer and really the engine for this South Carolina State Bulldog team. So not good to see. Hopefully he just got the wind knocked out of him a little bit banged up and able to re-enter this one because it's a really competitive game, back and forth, and been a really fun one to call, Bryant.
See Justin Games over there as well. Leader of this Furman Sports Medicine staff and been around the basketball program for many years. One of the best in the business, Justin Games, seeing if he can be any assistance. They look to be looking at that upper area of Hallams as the Bulldog bench huddles up around Eric Martin. Take another look as he was the one, has the basketball, goes right into Williams, and I think as he comes down, just comes down awkwardly maybe on that shoulder, and you're gonna have him gingerly now get up. It's really on the secondary fall. Maybe that he goes straight to what it looked like his right elbow potentially, holding on to it. As now he at least is in a sitting position under the basket there, and you hope for the best. And anytime there's a long stoppage of play like this, it breaks the momentum up for both teams, and it's really hard to kind of probably get back into that swing of things.
Yeah, and it's scary to see. And, you know, for SC State, you know, that's your brother, that's your teammate that you're out there playing for, you're battling for, and he's giving it his all on a play, comes down with an awkward and scary landing, and good to see him being lifted to his feet right here. And hope this is nothing major. Obviously, he's able to re-enter this one as he's limping off a little bit.
Don't know if it's maybe that right hip, right leg. They'll take him back and get looked at again in great care, but that's something the Bulldogs are going to have to bounce back from and bounce back from quickly. Still just a 6-point game, just under 10 minutes to go in this second half.
Someone's going to have to step up. Yeah, that's another equation to this, not just the injury. Someone's going to have to step up and match that production. That is the leading scorer for South Carolina State. Also, probably their best shooter of the three ball outside of Raekwon Brown. He's shooting 53% from 3 on the season. So a big blow for SC State, but you still got 10 minutes. You're only down 6. This is very much a game.
Williams attacks the basket. Count it! And a foul. He's done about it all, Mr. Childress.
The Alex Williams breakout game is upon us, and talk about a difference maker. Since he's been inserted to the game, a 7-0 run. And Bryant, all 7 of those are Alex Williams. He's got a chance to make it 8 right here. He's really turned this game around for the Paladins.
Yeah, was suspended early in the season, has slowly worked himself into rotation, saw some minutes up in Boone, and Alex Williams has been a spark for the Paladins. That free throw a bit too strong, but he grabs his own rebound. 8-point lead with the basketball. Again, the Paladins' largest lead has been 10, and that was at 13-3 as well as 11-1. Williams back to Pegues. 8 on the shot clock. 4 to shoot. Loses the basketball. Down low. Slams it home. Heen with 1 to spare. And the lead is at 10.
A great scramble effort right there from Marcus Foster. Slides the bounce pass to the dunker, Garrett Heen, and it's all Paladins right now. A chance to really blow this one open with a stop here.
Layup off the mark, tipped around into the hands of J.P. Pegues. 9-0 Furman run over the last 90 seconds. Sent to the corner, Williams. Can he do it again? Yes! Alex Williams has 10. He's perfect from the field, and the Paladins up 13.
Alex Williams does it again. He's got 10 of the last 12 for the Paladins. A 14-2 run over the last 3 minutes. 12-0 run over the last 2 minutes.
Alex Williams has come on off the bench and been sensational Furman's largest lead. Bulldogs looking to respond. That shot short. Williams with the board. Who else? Leaves it off. Alley-oop on the way. Pegues. Oh, can't make the layup. Long rebound taken down by the Bulldogs. Taken back away by Anderson. Pegues 3 off the rim, flying in, out of bounds. It will be Bulldog basketball. Back and forth we go. Catch your breath, partner.
Yeah, I need a breath. What an exhilarating couple of possessions right there. How did JP Pegues' layup not go in, Brian? Toilet bowled all the way around and rolled out, and heard all of Timmons exclaim, oh, is it rolled out? But just back and forth. It's just great basketball, you know, to be able to call. Great basketball to be able to watch, and the arena is rocking as the Paladins are up 13 now.
13-point lead, the largest Furman lead of the basketball game. Williams 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 minutes. How about that?
He's really doing it all. And, you know, I feel like Coach Ritchie's got to keep him in there until, you know, he gets tired. But you know, right now it is all Alex Williams.
Foul going against the Paladins, team's 4th. Joe Anderson getting called for the personal, his first.
Coach Ritchie has identified this high-low game for SC State. He's saying they're trying to get a late switch on that, move a big man over to match the big man. We've seen SC State try and go high-low a couple times, and you know, right in front of us, we saw it right there. So Furman making adjustments defensively as the SC State offense has really stalled out. Haven't scored in the last 3 minutes, 4 turnovers in the last 3 minutes as well.
Gary, tough shot. That's short into the hands of Heen. Furman looking to go quick. Pegues slowed by Simpson into the front court. Tries to find a cutting Foster. Can't get it to go. Loose underneath. Still battling for it out of bounds, and it will be Furman basketball. Gives us immediate timeout. Fax, give you a minute to catch your breath, partner.
Yeah, the Alex Williams explosion. He's stolen the show here in the second half for the Paladins. Furman up 69 to 56, and just a scrappy game back and forth here at Timmons Arena.
Alex Williams, a career high 10 points, and talk about faxing a spark off the bench. Rebounded the basketball, hitting from beyond the arc and contact down low.
He has been the complete difference maker. This game absolutely flipped when Alex Williams was inserted into it. Bob Ritchie making the call, getting number 24 up off the bench, and he has responded in the best way possible.
Williams working back into the rotation after missing the early season. I'll tell you what, it's a tough rotation to crack when you have the depth that the Paladins have, but he's showing what a big part of this Paladin rotation he can be. Furman with the basketball and the 13-point lead, which is their largest of the afternoon. Cut back off, out. Can he do it again? Yes. Add him up, Alex Williams. He has 13. He cannot miss a perfect 5 of 5 from the field.
Bro, I would love to feel what Alex Williams is feeling just once in my life right now, where the rim feels just absolutely massive. Paladins force another turnover. Alex Williams, perfect from the field, 5 for 5. Perfect from beyond the arc, 3 for 3. He's got 13 points in just 4 minutes.
Tell you what, I think Furman's going to try to get another look here for Alex Williams. And why not? Some pressure in the backcourt. Pegues looking to beat it. A lot of contact. Those are Daheen. Up to Williams. Williams looking to go one-on-one. Double team comes. Tries to rip through it. Tries to cutter, and Marcus Foster turns the basketball over. Good defense there by the Bulldogs. Quickly into the front court of Simpson. Bulldogs trying to stop a 15-0 run. A 4.5-minute scoring drought for South Carolina State.
Yeah, it's hard to think this was just a 1-point game. When Williams was inserted, and I thought he was about to do it again and take the top off.
He's human.
Timmons Arena.
Wow. I'll tell you what, you talked about defensive intensity, one of your keys for the Paladins coming into this basketball game. This run started getting stopped by getting stops.
Yeah, you know, it all starts on the defensive end. I think it's going to be the story of the season for Furman. We know they can score. They're going to be able to score on anyone in the country, but can they consistently guard at a level that's going to have them contending? That's the question that's out with this Bob Ritchie Paladin squad. If they're able to guard, they're up there with some of the best teams in the country, not just the conference.
Taking another look at that last foul going against the Paladins. The third on Marcus Foster, 15 foul, no shots. Joe Anderson checks out. Garrett Heen takes a break. Slauson and Bapa will come back in. Furman going on that run with their 2 leaders arguably on the bench.
Yeah, and you know, I think it just goes to show how dangerous this Furman team is and what they're really about. It's next man up mentality. It's depth. It's, who can pick up the production when the stars are off the floor, and Alex Williams really answered the call for the Paladins in minutes where you didn't have Bothwell or Slauson out there.
There, Williams is going to get called for the personal. Nice response by Gary. He'll go to the line to try to complete the three-point play. Nice poise by the junior out of Dallas, Texas. You take another look.
Yeah, just a good hesitation right there. Uses his arm to shield off the defender, draw the contact, and lay it in and one. That's a pro move right there from Gary, and really difficult finish.
Gary now in double digits. He has 10 to join Simpson. Try to get your update on Hallam's as we can. Went down a few minutes ago on that hard foul on the offensive end. Bulldogs now 2 of 5 from the line. Slauson trying to get rid of the basketball, gives it to Pegues. Still plenty of time on the shot clock as the Paladins have opened up a 14-point lead, and Furman turns it over.
That's a sloppy turnover right there from Pegues, but he makes up for it on the defensive end, hustling back and able to get the steal. Bothwell out in transition now.
Leaves it for Williams. Williams hesitates, give him 15 as he's adding to that career high. Nice job by the junior to hesitate, get the defender in the air.
Yeah, 15 in 6 minutes for Alex Williams, and it's official. It's official. He's arrived. He's arrived for this Furman Paladin squad. This has got to be a contributor going forward, and he's definitely cracked the rotation, Brian.
Austin trying to go one-on-one. Might have gotten away with a walk in there, a whistle. A foul going against Mike Bothwell after the travel that was not called. It'll be 2 shots at the line for South Carolina State.
Yeah, the Furman bench is not very happy with that one right there. They thought there was a travel miss. It looked to us, too, like there was a travel miss, but nonetheless, SC State got a chance to go to the line and stop the bleeding a little bit, find themselves down 16. They've got 5 turnovers in the last 6 minutes of play, and it's really been offensive woes ever since Furman picked up their intensity, inserted Alex Williams into the game, and just got that spark that they needed. He's going to come to the bench now for a standing ovation.
Going to get a breather. Timmons crowd recognizing that contribution. Second free throw upcoming for Brown. Rattles at home, back to a 14-point Paladin lead. Turnovers, Furman with 16. That was in double digits at halftime as Bothwell takes his time, and he'll go to the line for 2. But offensively, you see for the Paladins able to be a little bit cleaner, still shooting 50%, 56% from the field, but when you slow down the turnovers, good things happen. Yeah, very poised, very mature, and doing a lot better job of protecting the ball from the Paladins. Only 4 turnovers in 15 minutes, and it's not a coincidence that they've been able to blow this lead open. Now looking to find themselves up 16 if Bothwell can knock down a pair. The 5th year calmly knocks the first down. Bothwell now with 12 points, and you can say quiet 12 points for Mike Bothwell. You said, hey, you need to get some new looks, some additional things in the second half, and Bothwell, you look up and knocks this one down. He'll have 13 points, just a few below his average.
Yeah, but still contributing to the game in other ways. 6 assists to only 1 turnover has been really impressive. Contributing on the defensive side of the ball as well, and he's added 3 rebounds. So for Bothwell, it's just about being a complete player. That's really the next step that he's taking. He's not just a scorer anymore. He's getting 4 rebounds a game. He's getting 4 assists a game. He's finding other ways to contribute when his team needs him to pick it up in other areas.
Nice cut, easy off the glass and in. Slauson gets beat, and the Bulldogs showing a taste of what they did early. Into the front court, it'll be a blocking foul. 2 shots for Marcus Foster. How quickly is Furman getting the ball in on makes and kind of leading to those transition opportunities on made buckets?
Yeah, they're really just going, and it's been Marcus Foster. You see Slauson gets beat back door right there, and Rob Ritchie and Jalen Slauson talking in front of us right now about some defensive coverages, but it's been Foster all night off of those inbounds, getting out in transition.
Tell you what, look at the respect between those two, head coach and 5th year lead, locked in, coachable. That's one thing everybody says about Jalen Slauson that interacts with him. Not just a nice human being, good basketball player, but wants to get better. And how often do you see a 5th year senior just locked in and then sharing a hand slap with his head coach as he walks away? Talked about every moment of learning opportunity there, one between the head Paladin and Jalen Slauson.
Yeah, talking about Slaw, chance to interview him a couple weeks back at one of the women's basketball games. He was coming out and showing support to the Lady Paladins. Everything was about his teammates. We asked him about the SportsCenter Top 10 dunk that you had a chance to call, Brian. It was, it's not possible without my teammates. It's not possible without Coach Ritchie. Just such a down-to-earth kid and a really good kid that could find himself in the NBA if a couple things break the right way.
Some projections have him getting the opportunity in the NBA. If not, definitely will be a professional opportunity for Jalen Slauson. Down low spin move off the glass, can't get it to fall. Tipped around and looks like it kept in bounds. Shot clock did not reset, and this should be, oh, they're gonna get a whistle and a foul with a 1 on the shot clock. Furman staff wanting a shot clock violation. The assistants off the bench, and now the officials to take another look. Look at, hard to tell there. It looked like it might have gotten off just before the shot clock buzzer sounded. The officials will go to the monitor to take another look.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision to take another look. I couldn't really tell, Brian. It was legitimately bang, bang. We're going to get a replay right here. I think that's going to stand as a foul, honestly.
Coming over to let us know they are taking a look about the shot clock. And judging by that, Earl Lewis, that's who we were giving credit for on his tuck. We'll give tuck and roll. We'll call it on the far side as he was able to hop back up with it.
The tuck and roll.
Take another look. I think the foul will come. They're going to say right before the shot clock violation, as the ball was out of his hands before you see the clock tick down to 0. And I don't think this one will take long to uphold. 78-62. Tell you what, you talked about, if you look at the Bulldog record, 1-7, big underdogs. It takes a little bit for a new staff to gel, for even through the offseason, for your team to buy in. Tell you what, put the MEAC on notice. This is not going to be the South Carolina State of years past within the MEAC. I think they're going to have a chance to cause real damage in that league. I don't know if they're going to quote-unquote catch people off guard with some of the things they're putting on tape.
Yeah, I mean, give Eric Martin credit, and what's scary for me and for probably the rest of the MEAC, this isn't even his recruits yet. When he gets an entire cycle of recruits, identifying players he wants to play in his system, it could get really spooky for the rest of the MEAC. I think the South Carolina State team could be in contention to win the MEAC in the next 3 or 4 years, I would give it. It takes a while to get some players in that are able to contribute, but Coach Martin's got some great players on this squad right here, and they're going to compete in every game they play this season.
2 at the line for Brown. That's perfect on the first. He now has 7. Balanced scoring for both these teams. No one individual player with more than Alex Williams. 15, which he's done in 7 minutes. Second free throw is good. You're going to see some full court pressure out of this Bulldog program as the clock's approaching 4 minutes. Quickly up, layup up and in by Marcus Foster. And that's one thing, if you're able to beat the pressure, you got to make the defense pay.
Yeah, and Marcus Foster has done such a good job in transition all day for the Furman Paladins. Really, he's been the aggressor going to the rim. He's got 16 points now on 6 of 10 from the field.
Layup doesn't fall, but another backdoor cut opportunity for this Bulldog team. Foster out to Pegues, thought about a 3, and now we're going to get an offensive foul on J.P. Pegues with that offhand push-off.
Yeah, I think that's the right call there. It looked like he extended the elbow a little bit, extended the forearm, as you said, Brian. But Alex Williams has provided the burst for the Paladins, and Marcus Williams continues to make this Furman team a threat. Going to break Furman up 16 here in Timmons Arena.
Back in Timmons Arena, Bryant Lambert, Faxon Childress. Going to that last time out, Pegues got called for the offensive foul. We talked about Coach Ritchie and what he does, kind of the intangible coaching in between segments. Stopped the frustrated Pegues. They had about a 30, 45 second interaction that ended with a much calmer Pegues and an understanding, hey, it was the right call and here's how to avoid it next time. Just another one of those in-game situations that go a long way.
And Brian, I think that part of the reason every player that's played for Bob Ritchie just talks about how they want to go to war for him, it's just the respect level, the mutual respect between players and staff. And Ritchie does such a good way of communicating with his players. As you see Foster out in the passing lane there, and Furman going to pull out and get into their half-court offense, it appears. But just such a level of respect between Ritchie and the players, and the players really want to play hard for him.
Bothwell drives baseline. It's going to be a block and 2 shots coming up from Mike Bothwell, who gets a workout done while he's down there. You take another look. The block comes, but tell you what, you talked about the mutual respect. It wasn't an upset staff. It wasn't somebody that was getting frustrated with J.P. Pegues for the charge. It was like, hey, you did it. Let's talk about it. Let's learn from it, and then you move on to the next play. As Bothwell will go to the line for 2, and really a smart move there by Joe Anderson on the on the run out, realizing he had it under the basket, not trying to force anything, pulls it out and uses a little clock with the 16-point lead.
Yeah, and I think part of it is just the fact that I've never seen Bob Ritchie get rattled. He always has the same energy, the same mood, no matter what the score is, no matter what the situation is. He is locked in, he's composed, and that matters. You know, as a player, when you are playing under a staff, if you have a staff that panics, if you have a staff that's erratic with their emotions, that's going to translate to the players on the court. And for Bob Ritchie, it's always just one mood. You see it right there. He's telling Jalen Slauson, chill. All right, everything's going to be okay. He just does such a good job of managing games, managing players' emotions, and you know, this is just such a great culture here at Furman and such a great unison amongst teammates and staff members.
10th Furman team foul, be 2 shots at the other end for Cameron Jones, 6'6" junior out of Memphis, Tennessee. Bulldogs from the free throw line, 6 of 9. They've hit 4 from downtown, so kind of revisiting facts in your keys. You said the Bulldogs need to make this a kind of a 4-minute segment game and then kind of make hay from beyond the arc. And then we mentioned the free throw line. Shot too well from behind the arc, just 4 of 16, decent from the line, but boy, they've been impressive with how hard they've played.
Yeah, they've really battled, and you know, the score is a little bit out of control now. I don't think that's indicative on how this game has gone. Yes, Furman pulled away as they should, as they're the better team, but you know, Coach Martin's boys have really played hard. They're continuing to play hard. As you see, the pressure on Pegues is going to force a timeout or going to get a jump ball, and wow. I mean, it's just intensity for 40 minutes. They're still full-court pressing down 15 here with 3 minutes to play.
Furman was trying to get a timeout there in the corner. Paladins have 2 timeouts left and up 15, 3:14 to go, not trying to turn it over in the backcourt. And that Furman will, on the jump ball, have 5 seconds to get it across midcourt. Of course, you can't run the baseline on this set inbounds. Trying to go deep to Slauson. He catches it, corrals it. Can't get the roll, battles, and offensive board going for putback, and there'll be 2 shots at the line for Jalen Slauson. How about Marcus Foster? Talked about this game was moved from 4 o'clock to a noon tip because of the Paladin football team in the second round of the FCS playoffs out in San Antonio, Texas. And Marcus Foster doing his best quarterback drop back.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, maybe Tyler Huff and Kendall Dean over on the football side of things out in San Antonio. Game's starting up here soon, but maybe they're watching a little bit of film right there. Some great form, and Slauson able to corral it.
I just Slauson, put him in tight end, maybe an outside receiver, throw him a fade.
That would be terrifying. I would not want to.
I would run the other way.
Yeah, I would not want to face Jalen Slauson in any level of athletic competition.
17-point lead for the Paladins. The largest this Furman team has seen this afternoon. Really a methodical push out after a 15-0 run at the midway point of the second half. Put this one in control for Furman. Knocked out of bounds by Bothwell. Will stay with South Carolina State, 11 to shoot. Furman has a big one coming up on Tuesday. They'll take on High Point, a 6-1 High Point team that showed very, very capable athleticism, and they'll be coming into Timmons trying to get a big win on the road against the favorites in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, High Point's a good team every year, and a tough bucket right there from Raekwon Brown, able to put one in and get this lead back to 15 for Furman. But you know, High Point shoots the ball really well. They've got athletes, as you said, and that'll be the easiest bucket Mike Bothwell scores today.
Bothwell with 16. Furman able to beat the pressure, and so far South Carolina State struggled on that back end of that full court press.
Yeah, and you know, maybe a little bit of dead legs here for South Carolina State. Some fatigue starting to kick in. Find themselves down 17. That's going to be another turnover as they step on the line, and it's getting a little out of hand now with 2 to play. But credit to Coach Martin, credit to this whole Bulldog staff and the team. You know, they've played really, really well and really, really hard today, and you know, they've got a lot to be proud of. This program is definitely trending upwards. Don't let the 1-8 record fool you.
Slauson will check out. We'll finish with 11 points, 8 rebounds. As Alex Williams in, Huey as well as Marcus Foster to take a seat. Foster, tell you what, how about 16 points, go along with a couple rebounds, 4 assists, and you can put these pieces in place, and all these contributors on any given night have someone pop out double-digit points. Add Alex Williams to that mix. Don't want to say it makes Furman dangerous because they're already dangerous, but just another weapon in the arsenal that the staff can look at for any big night.
Yeah, and you know, the luxury to be able to bring a Huey or a Williams off the bench or even a Witt is just such a luxury to have in Southern Conference level of basketball. And if the Paladins win the conference, it'll be because of that depth.
Passes out of bounds, turnovers will still be something Furman looks back and tries to correct. Their 18th of the afternoon. Still the game in control, up 17 here, under 2 to go. South Carolina State. Faxon shooting 44% as a team. Good shooting afternoon. Bulldogs did, though, allow the Paladins to shoot 56%, as I'll stay with South Carolina State, 7 on the shot clock.
Yeah, and Furman falling in the range of their season averages all across the board. You know, shooting 50% from the field on the season, 56% today, a little bit better, and right on that 35% mark, which they found themselves at a lot this year from three-point range.
Looked like a walk. What they're going to say, a foul before it. Thought we saw a shuffling of the feet before the whistle. Nonetheless, it will be 2 shots as the Bulldogs are in the double bonus.
And yeah, it looks like there was definitely a clear travel right there before the whistle, but definitely what the rest decision is, and Bob Ritchie is talking to the referee in front of us and definitely does not agree with the call.
He's doing his best impression of the tap dance out there.
Yeah, he is. I'll give Bob a B+ for that.
More generous than I would have scored him. He's getting a good laugh as J.P. Pegues kind of looked at him and was like, what are you doing over there? Second free throw on the way for Brown, and knocks it in. 15-point Furman lead, 97 seconds to go, and here's the full court pressure as you would expect. Anderson weaving into the front court. Pegues wide open, three-pointer on the way. That one's off the mark, rebound by the Bulldogs. Tell you what, Coach Eric Martin, a lot of positives to take away from his team as they hit the bus, go down I-26 toward Orangeburg to regroup. They've been challenged here in the non-conference schedule, not shying away from anything, and a lot to build on. We talked about the MEAC, what they can maybe do. Yeah, definitely a lot to build on. Don't think this team's going to be really good in the wins and losses column this year. Obviously, the 1-8 start, but you know, you got to look at context, especially in college basketball. It's about the offense they're running, some of the stats they're putting up on the board, the defense they're playing, the effort, the player development. I think SC State's got a good one with Coach Martin, and I'm looking for them to continue to build their way up through the MEAC. A couple years, they could be a contender. Trying to leave it off to Huey. Furman reverting back to a little bit of some sloppiness we saw in the first half. Nice one-handed alley-oop up to Simpson. Wow. Lead still sits in double digits at 11 and about a 10-second shot in game clock differential. Yeah, and Furman will probably only take one more shot in this one, and they will escape with the victory. Not the best showing for the Paladins, but a win is a win nonetheless, Brian. Yeah, double-digit win. Game really put out of harm's way midway through that second half. And that big run as Whit knocks down the three-pointer. Overall, major takeaways. Major takeaways would be for Furman, you got to continue to compete on defense. You know, this team is never going to have an issue scoring the ball. They're averaging 82 points per game. That's going to go up with the 88-point performance today. It's about defense, defense, defense. Giving up 76 is not a great thing. You got to continue to get better on that end of the floor. Final seconds roll off. The Paladins win it. 88-76 to move to 6-2 on the year. The Bulldogs fall to 1-8. Faxon taking a look at the player of the game. You know, I won't even give you the opportunity to have a vote here because I think we all know Alex Williams, the BMW player of the game, comes in off the bench, the sophomore out of Ohio. We talked about the run. He was the catalyst of that. He completely changed the trajectory of the game. It was a one-point game when Alex Williams was inserted, and when he was taken out, the lead had ballooned to 16. You know, he had 16 points of his own. He was absolutely incredible throughout the tenure of this game. Extremely efficient as well. Was contributing on the glass. Took a charge. Complete body of work for Alex Williams. And just another weapon for Bob Ritchie to play with off his bench. Did a little bit of everything. Down low, beyond the arc, on the defensive end. Alex Williams, your BMW player of the game. Furman will be back in action Tuesday night inside Timmons Arena. Will take on High Point, a very good High Point team. The Paladins will be challenged